Parliament should amend the Seed Act to make it mandatory for seed banks to be created at the village level to protect Kenya's biodiversity as GMOs are introduced into the food system. And Maina, the National Coordinator of Biodiversity Association of Kenya, says that farmers might opt for high-yielding GMOs for commercial reasons at the expense of indigenous foods that might become extinct without the seed banks.
The Azimio la Umoja leaders are urging the government to increase area under irrigation and subsidize farm inputs to increase yields instead of relying on GMO for food security.
The Kenyan multi-billion food market, SSA, is susceptible to manipulation by profit-hungry multinationals, handing over our food sovereignty to corporate manipulators.
The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance want the government to shelve the rollout of GMO into the country until further audits on the health safety is carried out through stakeholder sensitization.
The BT maize seed. This will not bring down the cost of maize since the price is artificially manipulated by the profit-oriented multinationals.
Tafiti gani ambayo kanisa ya Kenya itafanya kuliko yale ambayo yamefanyiwa na nchi zile ambazo zimeendelea kisayansi kama Ujerumani? Utafiti gani utafanya hapa?
The leaders add that local seed companies are at risk of being edged out of business by seed multinationals as well as losing its indigenous seeds.
Lakini kule kuna makampuni ambayo ndio wametengeneza hiyo mambo ya GMO. Ambayo inataka kuuza mbegu hizo. Na hizo mbegu hizo ikishatumika katika ardhi basi huwezi tena kurudisha ile ingine ambayo inaitwa ile ya natural.
Any Kenyan seed will forever be lost to mutated forms of crops. GM crops cannot coexist with organic and non-GM crops due to contamination.
Elsewhere, a consortium of NGOs want Parliament to amend the Seed Act to make it mandatory for seed banks to be created at village level to protect Kenya's biodiversity as GMOs are introduced into the food system.
This is a first step towards reaching out to government agencies and to ensure that that law is changed because it does not recognize farmer-managed seed systems.
The smallholder farmers, and they give us as a country the identity of the country. If we go to eastern part of Kenya, there are those foods that we associate with eastern part of Kenya. If we go to western part of Kenya, there are those foods that are there, and in every other aspect of the country.
Indigenous seeds from material perspective, but they lost their tradition because of the loss of seed.
The NGOs say farmers might opt for high-yielding GMOs for commercial reasons at the expense of indigenous foods that might become extinct without the seed banks. They say introduction of GMOs in Kenya's food system could increase cases of malnutrition since those cropping genetically modified seeds might avoid intercropping to maximize yields.
Finding a situation where, like if you look at America, look at South Africa, GMOs are grown in monocultures. If you visit a small-scale farmer in Kenya, they are growing a diversity because they know the rains might fail. So they are growing their small maize, they are growing their cassava, they are growing their pumpkins, they are growing their beans.
The non-governmental organizations also want post-harvest losses estimated at about 30% drastically reduced to ensure food security. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.